Hey guys, welcome to another Wayne's Country Living Live. This is my first time in my new time slot, Fridays at 8 p.m. I don't know how bad the lag is going to be today because I don't know what's going on, but it's saying my stream is not up to par. I've got it all just like I always do, so it just must be Friday night and everybody's on the internet. Of course, my daughter is streaming on Netflix right now because that's all we've got. So, um, see how many people we've got coming in here. Hey, Kitty, Steve, USA, Park family, Teresa, Anita Gasper. How's everybody doing? I'll be honest with you. I don't really have a schedule. I didn't write anything down. Um, I'll be honest with you. I'm like really super tired. I haven't been sleeping very well. I will lay in bed, and when I finally do go to sleep, I wake up all through the night. So I don't know what's going on with that. But it is what it is. Eventually I'll start sleeping again. It's just, I don't know what it is. But anyway, like I said, hey, Curious Yellow. So anyway, I don't have a plan. So I'm going to rely on you guys to be asking me questions. Any kind of topic, really. I do have some updates I want to give. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit the other day. One of my new chickens, which I knew was a rooster, because you can just tell when they get to a certain age. I thought, you know what, I want some fresh chicken. And it was just me and my daughter home at the time, my 7-year-old. So we went out and we butchered a chicken, and I didn't make a video on it because I just didn't. It was a spur of the moment kind of thing. And so we strung it up in the tree and, did what you do to clean a chicken. And it was a little bit smaller than what I like. I was kind of just antsy, and I wanted to just go ahead and do it. But you know what? It turned out good. I put it in my cast iron skillet and put some vegetables around it, slow cooked it in the oven, and turned out pretty good. We had some fresh corn on the cob that I got from work. A guy from work gave it to us. Boiled them up, and so it was pretty good. But yeah, I kind of jumped the gun on that a little bit, but that's okay. I've got plenty more. My chickens are getting up there, and soon, once they reach that prime age, I will be I'll be butchering me some roosters. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the extra hens yet. I don't know if I'm going to need them all, and I hate to butcher them because they could go to somebody that could use them. And whether I sell them or pay them for it or whatever, I don't know. But I don't want to. It's I have a family of 4, so I don't want to have 20 hens out there get 20 or get 15 to 20 eggs a day. Lord have mercy, we're not going to be able to go through that many eggs. But I don't know. I'll figure it out. So, anybody got any questions for me? Hey, Yankee Living. See how many people we've got watching. I'm still learning this live chat thing. So far we've got 28. Hey, that ain't so bad. Sell the extra hens and pick up another type of protein. Yeah, I could sell them. I don't know. Hope you're doing better, Wayne, and we have been thinking about you and yours. Yeah, I want to say thank you again to everybody out there. Those of you who donated, those of you who shared the video, those of you who've been praying. This is going to be a long road. It was awful sudden, and when somebody that you're close to, somebody that you love, is hurting that bad, you can't do anything. I mean, you cannot take it away from them. You can't do or say anything that'll fix it. And I think that's what hurts the worst. But um, it's going to take time. But I want to thank everybody out there who from the generosity of their heart did what they could, and that it was amazing. And I just want to thank everyone out there. It was absolutely amazing. And thank you all for all the well wishes. It means a lot. You can give the eggs to your neighbors, coworkers, and friends. Yeah, I could do that. And somebody said that you could also sell the eggs, put a sign up in your front yard. Problem is, during the day, I'm not here. During the day, a lot of us aren't here. So I don't know how good that would do. I could probably sell them on the weekends. Also thought about maybe donating them to a shelter, the homeless shelter down in town. I don't know if the homeless shelter even what they do with meals. I don't know what kind of shelter it is. I know they do give away clothes and stuff, like you can donate clothes to the homeless shelter instead of taking them to Goodwill or the Salvation Army. But I don't know how they do with food, so that's something I'd have to check into. Wayne, what garden method do you use? Well, right now I just till up the land and plant in the land, in the dirt. And this year my garden didn't do well at all. That's why you've never seen it on the videos, is because what I thought was going to be a hot, dry summer turned out to be a wet, hot summer. So you get compounded with a whole crap load of rain, and then it comes out and gets blistering hot. So it burned up all my tomato plants. I did get a few tomatoes out of them. Some of the cherry tomatoes, some of the beefsteak tomatoes, but not enough to can and not enough to do anything with. And I bet I've pulled probably 5 or 6 cucumbers out of the garden. So next year, if I can do it right, I'm going to try a back to Eden garden. And I'm not exactly sure how to do that yet, but I'm going to do some research and ask some people. That'll also help keep the weeds down and stuff like that. Can you trade the eggs or sell to a local market? Home Place Journal. We do have a farmer's market, but I don't know if, well, I should say we did have. To be honest with you, I haven't been in town for a long time, and I don't know what days they do the farmers market, if they still do it. But we could sell them there. As far as bartering with them, yeah, I'm sure we could find some way to barter with them. Eggs are, especially around here, everybody loves the brown eggs. To me, there's no difference. If I have, let's say, Rhode Island Reds, Barred Rock, or Barred Rock, or the Australorps, they lay brown eggs. Well, you could also get the Leghorns, and they lay white eggs. To me, there's no difference. It's just the shell collar. To me, the difference is how they're raised, how fresh they are. The store has the chicken farms has the Leghorns. They cram them up 3 and 4 to a cage, and they are just egg pumping machines. That's all they do until they die. And then those chickens who have lived in misery end up on somebody's dinner plate, because once they're done laying, they're no use to the farmers, or to the, I don't want to call them farmers because they're really not farmers. They're, factories. So to me, between white and brown, that doesn't make the difference. To me, the nutrients that you feed your chickens, how fresh the eggs are, how happy the hens are, that makes a huge difference in your egg production as far as I'm concerned, and the nutrients of your eggs. I mean, you can take a store-bought egg, crack it open, put it in a saucer, take a fresh egg right out of your coop, put it in a saucer, and look at the difference. And the store-bought egg is going to be milky looking and pale, and your yolk is going to just kind of lay flat. Take one out of the coop, you've got a nice perky yolk, uh, bright collars, and much better tasting. Oh, and another thing, maybe trade to somebody, Home Place says, maybe trade to somebody who has had a better year of eggs. Um, right now, I have 4 hens that are laying. In early spring, I was getting 4 eggs a day, almost religiously. Then the weather turned and it got really hot. Once the weather turns like that and it gets really hot, the egg layers kind of slow down. So I've been getting 1 to 2, sometimes none a day. So and then we're going to be going into winter, and when we transition into winter, they're going to quit laying altogether. And so I'm hoping here in the next month or two, the other hens will start laying, and I'll be able to get a bit better production come along. Hey, Cook Man. When I was a kid, a carton of eggs came with multiple eggshell collars. Yeah, I haven't had the Easter eggers yet. All I've ever had were the brown egg layers. When I first got into chickens a few years ago, I had Rhode Island Reds. They were great birds. I mean, I couldn't have asked for better egg layers. And now I've kind of got just a barnyard variety. They're just kind of mixed. To me, chicken's a chicken. Now, the Australorp, the black Australorps, they're really winter hardy, but also you have to think they're pure black. And yeah, they do good in the winter. But what about in the summertime when it's blistering hot outside? It's not good for them. It's just not good for them to be out in the sun like that when they're all black. So, and the Australorps are really good egg layers. They, as far as I remember, they still hold the record. One hen laid 364 eggs in a 365-day year. So she laid eggs every day of the year except for one. So, the Australorps are really good egg layers. Wayne, they may not stop fully in the winter. Some lay all year. Yeah, well, what I meant by that is they'll stop laying as it's transitioning into winter. And once they get acclimated to the weather, then they'll start laying again. Yeah, they do. They will lay all year long. I'm sure they will. But they'll slow down a lot once the weather starts changing. And you'll notice that in all 4 seasons, not so much fall and spring, but winter and summer, they slow down a lot. That's why I put a fan in my coop, help them stay cooler, and mist them occasionally with a hose if needed. Yeah, I don't mess with that. That's a good idea, but I usually just go out there and open the door and let the wind circulate and let them go out in the field and peck around. Hey, Uncle Buck. Hey, BC Truck. I love to barter my homemade skin and hair products, soaps, crochet items, sewing items, and the like for the local eggs and raw milk. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'd love to get some raw milk. Um, can't find it around here. People is too afraid. The government's got people scared to death to be able to trade or barter for any kind of food product. I mean, you can sell chickens all day long. You can butcher a chicken, sell it all day long. But you even start mentioning anything about a cow and milk, and the government's got everybody scared to death. Mine are part free range, so yeah, only so much I can help with keeping them cool. Yeah, I found West Virginia you can get raw milk legally now. Really? I did not know that, and I'm not too far from West Virginia. It's very interesting. So yeah, mine are free range. Sometimes they're not. Well, I guess all the time they are. I've got a runner out there that they can go in and out. But you put the fan in the coop, they're all outside. I mean, most of the time during the day, unless they're laying an egg or eating or taking a drink of water, they're all outside. That fan doesn't do any good. So I didn't figure any reason on running a fan. And I do not heat my um, my chicken coop. I can't remember where I read this. It's either on a website or in my book, Raising Chickens for Dummies, that heating your chicken coop can be dangerous because just like any other animal, they acclimate to the seasons. So as it starts getting colder, they acclimate as the weather transitions. But if you heat the chicken coop and they're used to that heat, and then let's say it's 30 degrees, 20 degrees, sometimes it's 0 degrees here, and the heater malfunctions, whatever you're using, electric heat, propane, natural gas, whatever, it malfunctions, goes out. Well, that's going to cause your chickens to go into shock, and it's going to end up killing them because they didn't have a chance to acclimate to it. So I let my chickens acclimate to the weather. You know, they they're animals. Same as any other animal outside. Hey, Nelson Homestead. Heat raises ammonia levels as well. Yeah, that's true. Good thing in the wintertime, you always have your spring and your fall clean out where you clean out your coop, like the true dig everything out, clean it out, not your regular maintenance, where you shovel everything out and clean it out. And then during the winter, when it's really cold out, keeps bacteria down, and the stench isn't so bad. And but then that's why you have another spring clean out, because all that winter manure and all that winter stuff is going to end up reeking to high heaven if you don't get it cleaned out when the weather starts turning. Hey, redneck prepper. Chicken poop is awesome fertilizer after you let it age some. Yeah, when I clean it out, I'm gonna end up building me a compost bin. It's funny. Growing up, we had a compost bin, and I mean, all I ever remember as a kid putting in that compost bin was grass. That's all I ever remember putting in it. Now, I'm sure Grandma and Grandpa put other stuff in it, but all I ever remember is when I started cutting grass by myself when I was a young age. Grandpa taught me to ride the riding mower, use the push mower, and all that. So he died, Grandpa died when I was 10, and he's the one that taught me how to cut grass. So I was probably 8 or 9, probably 8 when I started cutting grass by myself. So all I remember putting in that was grass. Well, we'd go out there at the beginning of the year, and all I would see is a pile of grass. And then Grandpa would get the pitchfork, dig into it a little bit, and it's just beautiful composted material, beautiful. And I could never figure out how only grass, would compost into that. But he had to have put something else in it. Our coop is finally coming along, but still have no idea when we'll be able to get chickens, but should be considering what is best for our area now. Yeah, I don't know what area you're in, but if you're in a really cold area, like I said, the Australorps are really good egg layers. They are really good winter hardy. There's a website. I'm going to type it here. think they still have mypetchicken.com. I think they still have this thing where you can go on and pick, do you want brown eggs or white eggs? Do you want winter hardy, summer hardy? Do you want the foot feathers, as I call them, the chickens that have the feathers on the foot, their own little flaps? You can go through and pick out, and they'll tell you what is recommended for what you are wanting. So that is where I first learned about the Australorps. And I actually did, from efowl.com, I bought a whole bunch of Australorp chicks one year. And every one of them died. I was upset, not only because I lost all that money, but then because I lost all them chickens as well. But I called them and told them what happened, and they said that, they're live animals. It could have been anything. You could have gotten any kind of disease or anything like that. They refunded 100% of my money. So I'll always recommend efowl.com. They treated me right, and now that I'm hatching my own chicks out, I don't really have any need for it. But if you're wanting to buy from a hatchery, then efowl.com is a good place to go. Backyard Chickens is a good place to go to. There's all kinds of hatcheries out there on the internet. You just got to pick the right one. And efowl.com, actually, I got them at a discounted rate too, and they still gave me my money back. Hey, Big Bear. Big Bear with the wrench. I've had black Australorps, buff Orringtons, white Cornish rock, and my favorite was the Americana. Yeah, my favorite, maybe because it's nostalgia, but my favorite has always been Rhode Island Reds, because those are the first chickens that I ever raised by myself, were the Rhode Island Reds. And those are your typical all around good chicken. I mean, they're hardy in the winter. They lay pretty good. Their temperament is okay. They're not too bad on their temperament. So, but yeah, the Americana's great. Cornish rock. I've never had the buff Orringtons, and the Australorps that I did have didn't make it to maturity. So, which site is that, Wayne? Which one are you talking about? I mentioned efowl.com, Backyard Chickens. It's efowl. Let me type it in here. efowl.com. That's where I got my Australorps, and they all, even though they did all die, they refunded 100% of my money. So I can't fault them on their customer service. They take care of them. So. Rhode Island Reds are great hens, but the roosters are highly trained ninja assassin roosters. Yes, I agree. The rooster that I had, the Rhode Island Red rooster, I don't know if he had some sort of mutant power, but I would go out there and I would snip off his spurs, because a rooster with spurs is not good. A Rhode Island Red rooster with spurs is not good. And I swear to you, a week later, I'd be out there snipping them spurs off again. Elvis out here that I've got now, I've never had to snip his off. He's still a young rooster, though. I mean, he really is a young rooster. But his spurs aren't even there. And this one here, Lord, it could grow them like I grow fingernails. I only have one Rhode Island Red, and she is mean. Not sure if it's the breed or just her personality. Probably a little bit of both, but I'd say the personality. Chickens have different personalities. Most of those little chicks that I've got out there will run from me. But then there's one that follows me everywhere, like a dog. It just follows me everywhere. I'll carry the water pails out and take them down to the hose and wash them out real good and fill them full of water. That thing follows me all the way there, watches me, follows me all the way back. I don't know. It's like a kid. It's crazy. The other ones could care less if I was there or not. My two leghorns keep pecking the feathers off my two reds. I've heard leghorns are bad for that. Um, I've never had the leghorns personally, but I have heard that you can file off their hook beak. They've got a hook on the end of their beak that you can file off. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they do that at the um, chicken factories, as I call them. They shove the little chick's head in this machine and it spins around and files that off. But you can do it more humanely. Take a nail file or something, file that hook off, and that might help. I'm not sure because I've never had the leghorn. Ugh. We are going to have to stick to hens anyway because of where we are at. Hopefully, I will still be able to barter for chicks when I need new ones. Yeah, yeah, you can do that. I got to the point where I just don't want to buy chicks when I can hatch them out, and especially this past year, past May, I had 100% hatch rate out of my styrofoam incubator, which is crazy. Um, so that's what I'm going to be doing every year. I'm going to hatch out a new batch of chicks once a year because I just the only reason I'm doing it is to just keep my flock rotated, keep young birds in there and butcher out the old birds. We used to have those little chickens, guineas or something like that. Darn, you talking about mean. Took the rooster by the neck and snapped it. He chased my baby girl and flogged her. Yeah, yeah, they'll do that. Um, you're probably talking about a banny rooster. Um, Guineas, I've never known guineas of being mean. Guineas to me are just annoying. I can't stand guineas. I won't have guineas on my property. Them things are just loud and obnoxious. And oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, they're good for pest control. They keep the insects down. But man, they will not shut up. And it's just, maybe it's just from my childhood. But if I can help it, I'm never going to own a guinea. I think they are bannies or something like that. Yeah, banny roosters. I've heard of them taking kids' eyes out before. Get a freebie rooster, keep him for a week. As soon as the neighbors start complaining, fix a rooster dinner and put the eggs in the incubator. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. You can get probably find a free rooster almost anywhere because a lot of people don't breed chickens anymore. So you can take that rooster, put it with your hens, and let him get with your hens and breed them all up, and then go ahead and slaughter him and eat him, and then hatch out the eggs. I'd probably give it 2 weeks, more than a week. I'd probably give it 2 weeks. Let him get in there with the hens, and for about a week or so, and then start collecting the eggs for another week, and then. But that's just me. I'm not saying that's the right way of doing it, but that's just me. My Rhode Island rooster attacked my 5-year-old, and he met the shovel. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I won't tolerate that. Same with the dog. First time my dog ever goes after one of my kids, I'll be the last thing he ever does. Same with a rooster. Rooster goes after one of my kids, it's the last thing he'll ever do, besides get digested. But hey, I am not a chickenologist or anything, as Janol would say. Janol is just being modest. He is a chickenologist. Um, he knows more about chickens than what he lets on. Granny always had a fighting rooster till it spurred her by the eye. Chicken and slicks for supper. Yep, nothing like chicken and slicks. We never did call them slicks. We just called them chicken and dumplings up here. But you might be, I don't know, I forget where it is. The dumplings are north and the slickers are south, or is it the slickers are south and the dumplings are north? I don't know. Um, I never did have any fighting roosters. Game roosters to me are a waste. If for one, I'm not going to fight them, and for two, they're incredibly annoying, loud, and they serve no purpose. They don't lay eggs. They're just feed hogs. So I have no need for game roosters. Have you had a hen get plugged up yet? Not yet. But when you get an egg-bound hen, if you don't catch it, chances are you're going to lose her. And that happens sometimes, especially in the bigger flocks. When they get egg-bound, happens. My mom had wild ducks and geese in her big pond. The youngsters loved to feed them. The ducks were fine, but the geese were brutal. I used to live in Columbus, Ohio, for not very long, a little bit, until I moved back down here. And we had a pond, and the wild geese would always come down south for the winter. Now, to us, south is not Columbus, Ohio, but for the geese, they are. They're coming from Canada, so this is south for them. But anyway, they'd go there, and if you'd even walk by there, I mean, they'd chase you. If they got a hold of you, it hurt. I got pecked by one. It hurts. Janal has spent the last few years collecting skills. Yes, and he did it the hard way too. I'm probably where he was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, just getting started. Probably 10 years ago. So I have a long way to go. How many hens should a single person have? That is hard to answer. To me, I would want, I'm not going to raise, even if I'm by myself, let's just say hypothetically, I'm by myself. To me, I'm not going to raise any less than 5 chickens. Um, you always want a spare in case one of your hens goes down. You always want to be able to reproduce them. So you get a clutch of eggs, usually get about 10 eggs to a clutch. Now I was able to get more than that, but let's say a regular hen, she hoards up about 10 eggs in a clutch, and then she sits on them and lays them. Well, as a person who raises chickens, I don't want to do that. I want to get more than that. So the average hen lays 1 egg a day, if you're lucky. 1 to 2 eggs, 1 egg a day, or 1 egg every 2 days. So I would at least go with 5 hens. And yes, you are going to get a lot of eggs sometimes. You'll get more than what you can eat probably at certain times of the year. And then there'll be certain times of the year where you'll get 3 eggs, 2 eggs, no eggs, depending on the weather. So that's just my personal opinion. Now, I'm sure there's other people that would have more opinions or better opinions than that. But to me, I wouldn't raise any less than 5, especially depending on if you're going to want to hatch them out or whatever. But that's just my opinion. And you'll be actually surprised at how easy it is to actually raise 5 hens. When I first got my 5 Rhode Island Reds, when I first started a couple years ago, I had them in an old box, no bigger than a table. And that was their coop. It sat right on the ground, and I had a runner probably 6 feet by 3 feet. They were perfectly happy. They had plenty of room. They It sat right up against the hillside of the woods. Predators never got them. They were perfectly fine, and they laid eggs like crazy. So that's just my opinion. We are a family of 6 and have 13 hens is just right. Yeah, I would say that is. Hey, Big Family Homestead. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Oily. You know, people get intimidated by livestock, and they call chickens the gateway animal for a reason. It's very hard to screw up raising chickens. There's really not much you have to do. And a lot of it is personal preference. I know people that have the coops that raise them up off the ground. They come out of their chute and they walk down into the run and happy-go-lucky. Me, I don't like that style. I like to build a coop with a dirt bottom and then put roosting poles up in it, something that I can get in, get the eggs, have plenty of room to move around, plenty of room to be able to clean it out. And so, yeah, it's really hard to screw up raising chickens. You know, you get them a nice home, nice place to run around, then all you have to do is feed them and water them and clean out the pen every now and then and collect the eggs. You know, sometimes they do get sick, sometimes stuff happens, but I'll be honest with you, and this may sound cruel, but if I get a chicken that's too sick, I'm not taking it to the vet. I'm just not. I'm not paying a vet bill for a chicken. Chickens are a dime a dozen anymore, and it is what it is. I'm not meaning to be cruel. Now, if it's something that I can treat, a home remedy treat, I'm going to take care of that chicken the best I can. If it gets too sick, I'm not gonna prolong its life. I'm going to take care of it. I seen something. Let me change this. I seen something about storms. Let me go up a little bit. Wayne storms here heading your way, 3-ish hours away. That's nice. Yeah. Bad lightning. Luckily, where I'm surrounded by the hills, the wind doesn't really get to us all that much, but I still don't like them. I've never been a fan of storms. Before I was born, here local in the town that I was raised in, just down the road, they had a massive F5 tornado come through. It came from Kentucky, crossed the Ohio River, and came right down what we called Ohio River Road, and went up and over. There was a cemetery, and it went up and over that cemetery, and then down towards the grade school. And they said it killed quite a few people and injured a lot. And they said they found tombstones miles away. They found fish out of the river miles away where there should be no fish. So I get a little concerned when it comes to tornadoes because it has happened here, as rare as it is. They can happen, but you know, you have to look for the signs too. But at least I got warned. For those of you who don't know, Big Family Homestead Brad, they live in Ohio too. So he lives up towards the Cincinnati area, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so all the storms that he gets first always comes my way, east to west, or west to east. Big Bear's back. Uncle Buck, or a rabbit. I don't know what exactly you were talking about. I should have my rabbits, at least one rabbit here soon. And that rabbit's going to be bred already. So that'll be good to get me some rabbits in the grow out eventually. I'll tell you what, if I had to pick, I'd pick chickens number 1, rabbits number 2, and it's a toss-up between goats and pigs. Um, if you're going to milk the goats, I'd say goats, because that's probably more productive. Because pigs have a certain time. You can breed pigs anytime, really, but they have a certain time when you want to breed them because you don't want them to be giving birth in the wintertime. Wish we would get a storm. No rain in 2.5 months. We have had a lot of rain here, a lot more than what I thought we were going to get. For those of you who don't know, I'm in southern Ohio, right along the Kentucky border. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, that I didn't really have a plan. I'll be honest with you. I'm just kind of zonked. I haven't been sleeping very well, and so I'm pretty tired. I did write, you know, which I've already said to thank everyone, but then I couldn't think of anything past that. So you guys are helping me out a lot by coming up with some topics to talk about. Haven't been fishing past couple of weeks. You know, with everything going on, it's just not. I just didn't have the ability to, and I don't know when I'm going to get to go again. I want to make sure everybody's okay before I go out and go fishing again. But right now should be a good time because the bluegill should be spawning again. Now they spawn 3 times a year in this area, and you've got early spring, early summer, and early fall, I believe, is when they spawn. And you can always catch good bluegill when they're spawning. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to get back out and do it again. I hope soon because I really enjoy it. Fishing really relaxes me. And of course, then you're putting food on the table as well. So that's always good. Food that doesn't come out of your grocery budget. People think, oh, he's going fishing. He's just wasting time. It's not a waste of time if you're catching fish. Same as hunting. You know, people say, well, you shouldn't go fishing. It's a waste of time. But they'll go and spend hours in a blind and not get a deer. It's the same thing. Fishing license expire February 17th. I do know um, that they expire in February, but I don't know what day. Your fishing permission slip, yeah. Don't get me started on that. I don't even know what the money goes toward. I guess I could look it up, but probably nothing that I want to be a part of. Once things settle down, coming down to go fishing with me and maybe hunting, right? I don't know. Because you go fishing and hunting in West Virginia, and then I've got to buy another license, another permission slip for West Virginia. So I don't know. I would like to go bear hunting, although it's probably dangerous for me. Um, you know, the bear in West Virginia are a lot bigger. The bear here in Ohio, if you ever do see one, which I haven't seen one in a long, long time, are like big dogs. I mean, you could go, hey, shoo, and they'd probably run away. Now, down at the strip mines where we go fishing, there was a report of a mama bear and 2 cubs out that way, but I never did see them. I never did even see the tracks. The only tracks I've seen up there were deer, coyote, coon, and what else did I see up there? It might be it. Of course, there's beaver up there. I can see them swimming around in the pond. But I never did see any bear tracks. So I don't know if that's just somebody messing with the reports or what, but we live in a suburb. A few years back, there was a bear roaming around the neighborhood. You know, that happened not too long ago here in town. Downtown, there was a bear running around, and this was going on for at least 2 weeks. He was running around town, digging in dumpsters and stuff like that. Friendly bear, never hurt nobody. Um, I never recommend this, but I heard that there was people out there trying to pet the thing. Now, those are obviously people who are not from the country who see this bear and think, "Oh, how cute." Yeah, it's cute until you don't have an arm left. But then somebody spotted it swimming across the river over into Kentucky, and we never seen it again. So I've seen pictures. Our old landlord years ago showed us a picture of several bear trying to get into the back door of their house, and that was just right down the road here. There was a cub who ran across the parking lot of the state capitol mall the other day. Someone posted a video the other day. Yeah, and I'm sure in West Virginia that's common, more common than here. Even though we are in the foothills of the mountains, um, you know, the Ohio River stops a lot of migration. Some bears will swim over, but not a lot. Nelson, fishing and hunting is where you learn self-control, especially if you like to move or talk while hunting. Hunters, man, they will shoot you if you talk too loud. Yeah, and I don't like hunting with other people. Maybe one other person that knows what they're doing, but years ago I went squirrel hunting with a group of friends, and um, I was using a 22 long rifle, and the other guys were using a 410 shotgun. And we weren't in the woods. We all split up. We all went our separate ways. And I bet we weren't in the woods 2 minutes, and I heard a shotgun go off. How in the world? I don't know. Maybe he saw a squirrel, but he didn't have one when we met back up. I think he just heard something move, turned, and shot. And to me, that's dangerous. I don't like that. Lived in Columbus for 7 years, saw deer, coyotes, foxes, one small bear, weasel, skunks, and the bones of a woolly mammoth. Well, I've never seen a woolly mammoth, but let's see. Here, deer, of course, coyotes, of course, fox, of course, bear. I saw one weasel when I first moved in here, and I haven't seen any since. Skunks. I'll be honest with you. The only time I see a skunk is when they're dead on the road. I've never seen one on my property or one in real life. They've all been dead on the side of the road. So I live in the woods. Love it. Yes, the woods are awesome. However, I've got like 20 acres of woods behind me. I've got a flat piece of land right here where I've got my home place, and I'm going out back this way is where all my chickens are, my garden and stuff. But right there, right probably 20 yards is a state road, state highway, if you want to call it that. When I'm outside filming or doing anything, cars, trucks, they're doing some sort of construction down the road. So we've got dump trucks going up and down the road. And for some reason, now I drive a truck for a living. You know, I'm a propane salesman. I deliver propane in a big single axle truck. Speed limit over here is 45 miles an hour. And they're all using their engine brake, their Jake brake, right in front of my house, because right up here is a curve, and that curve, it drops down to 35 miles an hour. So I get that right in front of my house. I'm thinking, Lord have mercy, you're not going fast enough to need your engine brake, for one. And I know that because I drive a truck for a living. You're not going fast enough to need that. And you've got houses right here. Have some respect. And they do it all hours of the night. You'll have semis, 18-wheelers come through here, and bah, 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 bah. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. But that's my rant for the day. But anyway, I mean, obviously they're probably not even thinking about it, because why would you? It's part of the truck. And a lot of times you can't turn them off, but most of the times you can, because there's some cities that don't allow the engine brake within the city ordinance. "10 minutes till go for green." Okay, thank you for reminding me. This time actually went by faster than what I thought, especially not having any kind of any kind of schedule or things to talk about. Because really, I could have a plan. I could have had a whole list of things to talk about, and I'd have got sidetracked. I mean, you guys would have mentioned something, and then I would have been off talking about something else for 15 minutes. So my neighbors and their friends are too lazy to get out of the car and knock on the door, so I have to put up with people blowing their horns for 20 minutes at 11 p.m. That is true about Jake brakes and ordnance. Yeah, I know the village right down the road here that you have to go through to get to the bigger city, the village. They have a Jake brake. They prohibited Jake brakes. Not that it matters. They don't enforce anything. We get loud thumping music from houses and cars at all hours. I hate apartment living. I don't live in an apartment. I can't figure it out. The neighbors right down the field here are, you barely even hear them, barely even know they're there. But during the wintertime, they're out till like 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night, chainsawing, sawing wood up, which is great. That's what they do to heat their house. But 1 o'clock in the morning, for crying out loud, people are trying to sleep. I mean, I know sometimes you got to do it at dark, but my goodness gracious. Just my opinion. When I was in Afghanistan driving haulers, I used the engine brake all of about 3 times in the mountains. When I'm driving a truck, if if I it just depends. It depends on how fast I'm going. It depends on a bunch of factors. But typically, 90%, 80% of the time, I've got the switch turned off. I'm not using it. To me, they're more for highway long haulers. You know, they do save on the brakes. That's true. But when you're in residential areas, have some respect, because those things are loud. I know exactly why they were invented. It does save on the maintenance of the trucks, but it's just, if you're only going 45 miles an hour, I don't see the difference. And the truck that I drive, you know, you let off the gas, and it automatically hits the Jake brake. So there's a switch you can turn it off. It's an old Peterbilt. There's a switch you can turn it off. I even drove before air ride suspension and power steering. Well, Brad, you are a man's man, because I have air ride suspension, power steering, air conditioning, and I enjoy it. And a CD player, if you're into that sort of thing. I can't see myself switching CDs while I'm driving 3,000 gallons of propane, but hey, to each his own. Well, we are 5 minutes away until Go for Green Living, so I want you guys to, I'm going to give them a plug. Jump over to Go for Green Living. They'll be on at 9 o'clock. Visit thehomesteadnetwork.com. Check out show times. Check out all the new ads. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I haven't checked the site for a little bit. So I know there are some new channels that have been added. So go check out thehomesteadnetwork.com. If one of the moderators want to post a link in there, that'd be great. Also post a link to Go for Green Living, so they can click on there and just jump over. So this isn't too bad for my first Friday night show. It actually went a lot quicker than what I thought it would. Arnie says propane is cheap right now. Propane is very cheap right now. Market rate's down. We were all able to offer good rates to our customers. So, yeah, propane is in good shape right now. Natural gas is right along there with it from what I hear. The network needs updating. Show times and names are not in there yet. Well, I think Brad, Big Family Brad, is the one that handles all that, and I know they've been really busy, so I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Well, guys, I want to thank you for joining me on my Friday Night Live chat. I'm going to keep trying to do this every week if I can. If not, they've got people that will jump in for me. During the winter time, I get really, really, really busy because that's where my business picks up. So there might be sometimes I won't be able to jump on and do a live chat. There might be some days I work 12 hours and don't feel like doing a live chat. I'll come home and just crash. I've done that before. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Jump over to Go for Green Living. And I believe, somebody remind me who's coming on after that, because I've been out of it this week. Who's coming on after Go for Green? It's a new, is it the Carolina Prepper Network? Somebody, I think there's somebody new. Anyway, check. I believe it's on the website. Check thehomesteadnetwork.com. Why would Hank be busy in the winter? Yeah. Well, the real Hank lived in Texas, so he didn't have what you'd call winter. Here in Ohio, we have winters. We don't have Alaska winters or Maine winters or Minnesota winters, but we have our fair share of winters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end it now. I want to thank you guys for watching. Check out Go for Green Living. They're coming up next. Let me know in the comments after this video is over what you think, things that you want to hear next week. And yeah, so I'm going to thank you guys for watching. And I'll talk to you next time.